I apologize. I really want to pay attention, but I'm just like going through like 1,000 different ways of things I need to recount to try to tell the story with any kind of decency. But for sake of providing some amateur entertainment, here I am. My mother was just visiting as of this Friday, and so maybe in her honor I felt obliged to be up here. And what came to mind, for sake of telling a story, was one of the stories that she tells most frequently when she sits around with me and recalls moments from my childhood. So it's more a story of me, granted she was fully intertwined via bloodline and being my mother. But the story goes back to, I would say roughly 1986, a long time ago. Maybe 87. I was in first grade, and at that time, and still today, I had an older brother, 2 years older, named Levin Brown. And due to being brothers of similar age and just sharing similar resources, we became very competitive of those resources in food, television, bean bags, like all toys, all the items, like because it was that nebulous age where like you can kind of share things because we're so closely related. You just fight voraciously for every access you have to them. And it was at that age of, I was first grade, maybe I was 6, 7, brother being 9, maybe 8. We developed a strong affinity for malted milk balls, which malted milk balls was the one treat outside of oatmeal cookies that was brought home on a regular basis. And so you get that nice carton, it'd be set on the countertop, and it would literally be devoured within 24 to 36 hours. And that was a really enjoyable time in my life. And I don't treat myself to these things anymore. Silly, very silly thing I don't do. So, malted milk balls became our like mutual infatuation. Therefore, like it would be brought home, set on the counter. Whoever would get to it first, like, would have the opportune time to consume as many as possible until vomiting, and that was usually how it worked. But this one fateful day, in which I was a first grader, my brother was a third grader, and we were assigned after-school duty of being part of the after-school program, in which my mother would come pick us up. She worked at the hospital in UNC in Chapel Hill and would come after work to pick us up, take us home, and we'd go about with our domestic life in the evening. It was really great. And this one day, I don't know where the chutzpah, the braggadocio, like the venom for life came over me, but I don't recall it because I only hear it through my mom. I don't know what was going through my mind at the time, but I decided to forego on the after-school program and try to beat my brother back home to the malted milk ball container that was waiting in the kitchen. Not container, the carton, I should say. Let's be accurate. And so that's what I did. I don't know why I did it, but I decided I was going to take the bus. I was going to surreptitiously grab that bus, beat him home by a good hour and a half. My mother would be at the time picking up my brother from after school. They would have no idea where I was at, and I'd be already like fully dining and gorging for hours upon hours of malted milk balls. And that was the plan. And so I did. And I grabbed bus numbered 179. It was a long bus. I had it for a good 6 years at that elementary school. And 179, and I have, from my own recollection, and of course my mother wasn't there to recount the details, I have no idea what was going through my mind, but I'm pretty sure it was like nervous energy, focus on the milk balls, you know where it's at, like step-by-step planning of like how I'm going to get from the bus to the door, to the kitchen, to the container, the carton I should say, again, and then gorge the milk balls. And so that's what happened. I took the bus home, and let me segue. I'm throwing a little tangent. My mother was panicking. She was freaking out. She got a call from the after-school program saying that I wasn't there, that my brother was here. They had no idea where I was. There wasn't any kind of like after-school monitor, you know, the kids that wear the safety belts and they keep track of everybody and make sure they get on their bus. Nobody had any clue where I had gone that afternoon. But I knew, and I was there. And I had gotten off the bus, and I had gone to the door. And this is like where like the tragedy and the heartache and all, like everything just completely came over. And the story gets really, just diluted, and I don't have any memory of what happened until that afternoon, once my mother had gone all the way to Grady A. Brown Elementary in Hillsborough, North Carolina, picked up my brother, brought him back home, and he gets to see this like triumphant scene of like coming back home along with my mother and seeing me between the screen, not the screen door, the glass door and the regular door that goes into the house, balled up like this. This is where my mom really embellishes. And like bawling my eyes off, crying and crying, because I didn't have a key to get into the house. And there wasn't a key hidden anywhere, under a mat, on top of the ledge that I couldn't reach anywhere to get in. And she comes up to the door and asks me, like, I've been worried about you, of course, all day. What are you doing? And I was sitting there bawling, saying, I just wanted some Malted milk balls. That's the truth. And I wanted Malted milk balls, and I probably got some. I have no idea. It was a very traumatic experience. My brother probably got at least an equal amount, if not maybe more, since he was older and had a bigger stomach. And the plan failed. But it was a bold effort, and she tells that story with pride, and I do too, so that's why I wanted to share it.